Good morning, everybody. This is Benedict Ertzen, and I am in the presence of Sheila Balgobin. I hope I say your name properly. And we are in the we will talk today about the essence of flowers and how they can help us to find our purpose. It's subtle, it's intangible, and yet it makes a huge difference. So, this is what we are going to talk about today. I just wanted to remind you that this interview is part of the book launch, Aspire Women Finding Their Purpose. And the launch day is April 30th. We are 3 days before the launch. And this is getting very, very exciting. Um, so we saw the mock-up for the first day, yes, for the first time yesterday, and so it's getting, all those hard work is getting all together to the final results in 3 days. So we are very happy about that. Launch day, so book launch is April 30th. During the launch day, we will do specific exclusive training that we have never done before, and that will be paid afterwards. But for launch day, to celebrate this day, it will be free, and so you can grab your ticket to down the link below. It will be fast tracked to a life of purpose, and how 20 women and 20 different stories can help you to find your own purpose and to live it fully and authentically. So that's for those series of interview. I am Benedict Ertzen, and I am a business and life consultant, and I founded the Feminine Leadership Model. I work with women who want to have it all, and I help them to lead, learn, and love in authenticity so they can create the life that they want and live not only their purpose but beyond that. So this is for the housekeeping of the morning. This morning, Sheila, I am so excited to have you today because you have quite a journey. Very impressive is not the right term. It's outstanding. It's out of what we usually see, and so it makes it very exciting because it means that whatever we are doing in life can lead us to very, very different topic. But I will not say anymore. I will leave you to tell our audience and people who are reading. Say hi if you are viewing it online, and if it is replay, just say replay. But we love to see that you are here. Shella, this is you.
Well, thank you
More
so
about
much.
you.
I've been looking forward to this day for so long. I even did a dress rehearsal yesterday.
Yes.
And I realized, oh damn, it's the 26th. But it's been a really wonderful journey. I've met some fantastic women, and their stories are all amazing, just amazing. My story is a bit different, and I take it if that's just me. Um, my dad named me his little maverick at birth, and I've been fulfilling that one ever since. So, of course, my story had to be different. But I looked at my story from the point of view of the tool, or a particular tool that I
Mhm.
was able to use to not only to keep my stress levels low, but to help me to actually hone in and define my purpose, and also to accept myself as I was, and to accept the gifts that I was given and to use them, instead of hiding them. I ran away from myself for a very long time, and essences helped me to peel back those layers. I call it peeling the onion. Peel back those layers until I what I was left with was me, and the person that I needed to be in order to be happy. I mean, it was basically about being happy. I was a banker for 20 years. I worked for a charity as a therapist, delivering therapies for 25 plus years. And it was like there was not, I was happy more or less with what I was doing, but there was no real satisfaction because I knew I was living below my potential.
Mm, I like that. Living below my potential. I have felt that way in corporate for so many years. I was thinking it's just like I am a luxury secretary when I was an engineer because I was so underemployed and I could have done so much more. So I fought for years about that. And I love the way you said that you were happy, but you were not up to your potentials. So
Yeah.
how did you step up into your potential and stop being under it?
Well, like I said, that was a long process. It took many years, and it's only, to be honest, it's only been, say, the last 7 to 10 years where, and in particular the last 7 years, that has really helped me to define myself, or not so much define myself, but to strip away what everybody else had defined me as and just be myself. um,
Oh,
and that there's a difference between the two.
yes. I love that. Step away as everybody else define myself to really define myself, me. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And made good money for many years, but again, you start to realize, and I think people since lockdown have started to realize that money is great, but there are some things that are just more important. And once I started the process about 7 years ago, really stripping away all this stuff that I was doing that wasn't me, what was left was myself. And not only that, but a clear vision of who I was supposed to be, how I was supposed to be in the world, and being more conscious about that. And that's when really my life started to shift, because I was doing what I was meant to be doing. And essences, taking the essences, were a big part of that, because you can think of vibrational essences as emotional tuning forks, if you will.
Mm,
Science tells us that everything in the universe vibrates, and when we're vibrating at optimum level, we call that health. But if the finely tuned orchestra that is our body decides that, maybe the bass is playing too loud, or the violins are screeching or out of tune, the energy starts to wobble. And vibrational essences, because they issue a pure note, a steady note, and helps us to come back into balance again. And that was the my journey, was to bring myself back into balance, because I was way out of kilter. Like you say, working in a male dominated, in banking for, an international finance. I was a stockbroker at one point, and it was
yeah.
just like, for Lehman Brothers at that. That was another bullet I dodged, but that's another story. But it was just this narrow kind of way of functioning, and I just felt like there was just chunks of me missing. I don't
Mm.
know how else to describe it. It just felt like chunks were missing. I didn't feel like a whole person. Now I feel like a whole person again, like I used to as a kid.
Oh, I love that. I like that. As I used to do as a kids. When we are kids, we don't ask all of those questions, and so we are just who we are
Hmm.
till the society and the expectation of others try to mold us into a mold that is not necessarily for us. And so when you say that there was chunk of me that was missing, which I totally get it, because I see that so often with my clients who are a bit kind of, I've got a good life, but this is not the life I want to have. So, but who I am to really complain, because I've got a good life already. But to want
Yeah,
more from life and to get the most of it is really a process. And it's start as well with a kind of permission to, yeah, I have got a good life, but I can have more. And I should not settle for less if I can, and if I can, and if I won't have more. How did you find, for the women who are listening to hers, how what do you recommend to find those chunk piece of you that was missing? What was your trick, or your journey, your tips or tricks that you can have to help people who are in this exactly place, that I've I was happy but not satisfied, as you said, and there was chunk of me that was missing.
I think the first thing is for people to start listening to themselves and to realize that it's not pills, potions, or gurus that know you better than you do. Even if you don't know you know yourself, you do.
Mm.
And when I work with clients, I'm really a facilitator. I call myself a facilitator. They are the experts. They are the ones who know them, or should be knowing themselves better than anyone else. And quite
Yeah.
often they don't know themselves. And there's always going to be a part of us, psychologically especially, that will be unknown to us. But there's also, it also behooves us to make better decisions about our lives, whether personal or professional, to know who we are. Because when you know who you are, then people can't, they can't play games with you. They can't, excuse my language, they can't bullshit you. They, you know where you are. I mean, and that's not to say to be rigid or inflexible, but you have to have a sense of self in order not to have your boundaries being overstepped all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And essences were part of unpacking some of those isms and schisms, as I call them, that were not helpful. They were not beneficial to me. They help. And what essences can help us to do is to step back slightly from ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
be able to observe.
Oh, I love that. I like
To
it. Yeah, it's like the helicopter view. You're still
Yes,
in the scene, playing your life, and at the same time you're in the helicopter and you see what is happening.
yes. Or put it in a different way. It's like lucid dreaming. I mean, if you like to think of this as being our dream, we're dreaming this and we're creating this from, literally. But yes, just to be able to have that overview and a larger view, at least, if not an overview necessarily, but at
Mm.
least an expanded view.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that.
and it gives us a better perspective. And therefore, as we always say, the more information you have, the better decisions you can make. Whether you're talking about personal matters or professional matters, when you have more clarity, you're able to make better decisions, and it's as simple as that. And for me personally, it was having that clarity and those light bulb moments that would happen often when I was taking essences or making my own essences, and that because I have my own range of flower essences, that I was often, I would laugh. The essences that I would create were often exactly what I needed at that particular moment in time. I mean, the universe is
Mm.
perfect that way. So, the first essence I ever made, for example, was about being calm and relaxed and just like taking it easy. Yeah, that was appropriate. The second one was about slowing down and not being so impatient. Hello,
Mm.
the universe talking to me.
I recall for that. I relate to this one.
Yeah, I
Not to
resemble that
confess.
remark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it was about this, not only discovering the range, my essences, but discovering myself in the process, and be coming to the understanding that the real expert on planet me was me. That,
mm,
doctors and consultants and this one and that one, and everybody thinks they know, but no, they don't. I know. And to believe that I know was sometimes is the hard part. Even now, some days, you just have to find that extra push to actually believe in yourself. We all
mm.
have weak moments like that. But the what it's great about the essence is that because they it's about restoring balance.
Yes.
Even when you have days here and there that, it's like some days it's like, I can't stand me. Let me take some essences, please. Because I can't stand the way I am this at this moment in time. So, it helps you not only to unpack stuff, but also to recognize what may be triggering you, and being able to have a simple and natural remedy to be able to work it at the emotional level, so that the emotional triggers become less and less and less over time.
Yeah. I like what you said about believe that you know. And there is a kind of paradox because we need others to grow because they see a part of ourselves that we don't know and we cannot know. And this is what we call the blind spot. And so we all have some, and we can be more and more aware and we can clean all of that, but it's just like dust and weeds in the garden. It's just always coming back. Or maybe it's because we
Absolutely.
clean more and more that then we can see that there is still more to do. So
Absolutely.
this is when we need others to help us to find our voice and to find who we are and what we are meant to be and to believe in us. And at the same time, we are the one to know better than anyone else what is good for us. And so this is a kind of balance, again, as you said with your flowers, that this is a kind of balance to find that I know better than anybody else what is good for me, and at the same times I need to be surrounded by people who can give me a picture of myself, who can share with me what they see when I am so much running my back that I cannot see anymore what is around. And so this is this kind of balance that is not always easy, because when you have a guru, as you said, when you ask people who are a bit guru and have this belief that they know better, you can be just wrapped out in stuff that actually doesn't belong to you but belong to them. And I love when you say that my clients are the experts and I'm here to facilitate their track. And I'm totally aligned with that.
Mhm.
And and still sometimes I hire some guru and each time is very painful. So I wanted to share that with
So we can
whoever
dish it
is
out
listening
with
to us,
ticket.
because if it happens to you, this is just normal. This is very, very uncomfortable, and
It is.
really, I it's always a very difficult time for me when I realize it. But nevertheless, I think it's part of the process. I agree with you.
Yeah, it is. And, in the end, we're all a bit of control freaks. We love, we want to be able to run things just the way we like them, and never be disturbed by anything. And that's just not reality.
Mm,
At least not no one in this time, if time space continuum that I know, has a life that runs perfectly all the time.
mm,
And it's I use like to use the analogy of a dance, because I'm a dancer. I love to dance. I sing as well, but my true love is to dance.
okay.
And when I always think, if life makes you stumble, just make it look part of the dance. And if you're a good dancer, you can even make a bad dancer, bad partner look good. Or if you stumble, you can make it look like it was you intended to do it all along. And I think life sometimes is a bit like that. We have partners that sometimes that just like speed dating for a minute, and other partners that stay with us and dance along with us for a long period of time. But there will always be something on the dance floor to make you slip, or
Yeah, that's true.
somebody steps on your foot, whatever it is. But make it part of the dance, because um, in the end, you want to be able to have some enjoyment in life, and occasionally people will step on your toes when they dance with you. That's just the way it is.
Yes, enjoyment of life. Absolutely. I've got a question for you. So, Aspire is the book that will be launched on April 30th. This is Friday, 3 days from now. This is so exciting. Um, why did you decide to jump into this adventure? Um,
Mm.
why a book? Why now? And why this book in particular?
Well, there really a couple of reasons. One is a fellow author and good friend has also had put my name forward to the publisher, Patricia. And after a conversation with Patricia, it there was so much affinity between us. I have many good memories of North Carolina from years ago. I used to spend a lot of time down there, so I know where the area where she is quite well. And interestingly enough, it was her name and the names of other people, but the name Patricia is very significant for me because my late sister, my big sister, was Patricia, and
Okay.
she passed away about going on well, a little over 2 years ago now. And for me, it for something that really caught at me when I heard about this book and had this conversation. And it's almost as if my sister is still saying, "See, I'm still looking after my little sister," and that was a kind of, because we were quite close despite the difference in our ages. So that was kind of comforting to me at some level, I suppose. But it was the premise of the book and what it was about that really caught my attention, about women, sisters doing it for themselves. That's what I guess. In the end, that's what I really like to see, that we may all come from different backgrounds, different situations,
Mhm.
but we're all struggling with something. And the ones who make it are a light, that can be a light to someone else who may be in a similar situation. And that's important to me, because I know that people who have been a light for me have pulled me out of some pretty dark places, and I would like to hope that I would be able to do the same thing for someone else.
Like this analogy that you have between the dark and the light, and I will use more or less the same idea as the light at the end of the tunnel. That there is a kind, when we inspire somebody to step up and claim for their own power and for their own life, we actually do something this is greater than ourselves. And even if there is only one person that we can inspire, then um, it's just like if our life was worth it
Oh
for
yes.
whatever, because we, so there is a kind of in the purpose there is a kind of helping others, doing participating to something which is greater than ourselves. um, how to say that, yeah, helping others, serving others, be there for others. Did you find that as well? Because this is what a lot of authors from Aspire, the book, shared with me along the last weeks. And so is it something that you found as well yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the this what did they say? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that's very true here. That, I mean, each and every story is an amazing story, but together collectively. I think they become even more powerful, because it shows different facets, maybe,
Yeah.
of the same issue, if you will. And I think having that blend of voices, different voices and different experiences, makes it the appeal that much broader, because it's not just one narrow band or perspective. It's
Mm.
many voices and perspectives, which can speak to many more women, I think. So in that sense, the collective, can be, in this case, I think, can be much more powerful, especially since women are just starting really to find their voice and not power over men, but, you know, working in harmony with.
Yes.
There's a sea change going on in that respect, I think.
Yeah, I believe this is part of the feminine energy to be to grab the community, to collaborate, to be with others. So I do not see the point for women to say this is me and then man you get out, just because it is the same with us for so many generations. But I don't see women doing that because
No,
this is not part of our energy and this is not part of who we are. So when we are like this, we are more in the masculine energy actually than we are in the feminine energy.
sure.
So
I
if
mean, and you're right, absolutely right. I mean, and it's about it. I come back to the word balance again.
yes,
Psychologically, we all, as women, we have an inner male, the animus rather. In men, they have an inner female called the anima. Their anima is about keeping them related, so they're not just cavemen beating each other up. Our our animus is to give us inner strength.
yeah,
But sometimes, again, that energy can become unbalanced, and you get you know go and get into bullying behavior, or other extremes of behavior. So it's not naturally in women, as you say, to have that kind of more forceful, dominating, or domineering even energy. But it can happen, if again,
yeah.
because our inner balance is off. And it's I what I have observed with people taking essences, and this has been observed by practitioners around the world, is that when one person in a family starts to take the essences, the whole
Hmm.
family the whole family will shift, because their energy, the energy that they put out in the world, is different, and of necessity, people will shift around you. And I tell you, it's great if there are people in your life that you really would rather like see the back of. You don't even have to tell them to go. You shift your energy, and if their vibration is no longer in sync, they just disappear. It's quite
Yeah.
amazing. It's quite amazing
Yes,
in
it
that
is.
respect. But it really is about having that, as you say, having that community to reflect back at us what we're putting out there in the world, because other people are our mirrors. You're absolutely right about that. But also to take the time to step back and think about what it is you're actually emitting to others. So there's the two halves or the two sides of the coin. We have to be self-observant, but we also need to observe our relationships as well, and have them observe us and reflect back.
Yeah. I like what you say about shifting the energy in the family. I'm using another image when I talk to my client about that. It's, the mobile that you have in front on a baby on a cribble,
Hmm.
those animals that is playing to help him or her sleep in night.
Hmm.
And what I tell them is that we all live in a system, in a group, and it's just like if you imagine those animals, if you touch the giraffe, then the elephant has to move as well. You cannot move only one of these animals without moving the rest. And this is the same idea of the shift of energy. And you are totally right that when we shift our energies, there are people that are just naturally getting out of our life, and we attract some other people
Yeah.
that can be more aligned with who we hurt and who we want in our life. And this is so essential if you run a business, to make sure that you attract the right people, and this is your vibe that will attract your tribe and nothing else. And I love that through your essence you are helping people to enhance this energy and to put it even more um, clarity or more pregnant, so it's easier for people to shift their energy. I love this. And
Well, what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But what's interesting about the process, Benedict, is that it is effortless.
yes.
I believe in the law of least effort. I don't make my clients work any harder than they have to. Occasionally, I might have to crack the whip, but generally, I like things to flow naturally. Without struggle, and we do enough of that as it is.
Yeah.
Ben, and that's the beauty of essences. And it's funny because children, young children, and animals, they get it like that
Mm.
immediately in seconds. I mean, seconds. It's just incredible. And scientists have said, there's nothing in this. It's just some water with some, preservative like brandy in it.
That smells good.
But yeah, but they have to admit that there, with the young children, that there is something that they don't understand that is going on. So but what happens is the reason why children and animals get it so easily and quickly is because they don't think about it. They just accept the energy, the energetic message or signature that's being passed to them, and they adjust immediately. With us, it's what is it? Why is it? How is it? When is it? The mind,
And why that?
yeah, yeah, on
And
and
which is
on and
good and
on
not
and
the
on.
other one? And what is it exactly? And yeah.
I mean, but I'll give you an example of how I actually wrote my dissertation for my psychotherapy training based on an 18-month-old child. An 18-month-old can't read, doesn't know what essences are, but I was giving a talk to parents at a children's center near my home about how essences can be used to get through the
Mm.
terrible twos or whatever. And this little girl picked up one of the flower cards I had scattered around, marched with it over to her mom, and thrust her arm out to give it to her as if to say, "You need this." It was hysterical. And the card she picked was impatience. That's the name of the flower, impatience. So
Mm.
the mother asked, "Well, impatience, what does that do then?" I think exactly what it says on the tin, babe. It's for people who are very impatient. That was the first time essence I ever tried. It was a Reiki teacher of mine who told me to take it because I was too impatient. But and I on the back of that, I was able to combine quantum theory, flower essences, and philosophy all in one package because of that 18-month-old, because the card she picked could have represented her mom being impatient with her
Yeah.
2-year-old. It could have been the little girl who wanted to exercise her will and doesn't have the capacity to do that and gets upset. So it was, and all of that from a flower, and she can't read, she doesn't know what it is, but energetically she picked up the signal.
Yeah.
And that's why it bypasses the logical mind. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
It will make you think, but you don't have to think about it.
And I love that. I will make a parallel with the feminine leadership, because the feminine leadership is just like those essence in the sense that it doesn't have to be visible to be efficient.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so when you are talking about the essence and this little girl who has just picked up that card, um, she doesn't know why, she doesn't know about whatever, but she can trust that this is a right sign and this is exactly what she needs to do. And when we are as women in our feminine leadership, or even men when they can step up in their feminine leadership, their feminine energy in their leadership, they can perceive stuff around that are very subtle, totally intangible, totally invisible, but it's still there. There's a kind of energy that is still there, and this energy is changing everything. So when you catch it and you use it, then the transformation is effortless. And this is amazing that you are using the same words for talking about a little girl with a mom with about flowers and essence that I am using with leaders when I'm explaining them why they need to open and use this feminine energy in their leadership. And I'm using the same words as you in totally different perspective because I'm more business oriented, and then in the example that you were saying, you are more personal and life oriented. But still, it works. It works the same way.
Exactly the same way, because in the end, you're talking about people. You're
Mm.
talking about emotions. You're talking about understanding oneself better, and there consequently being able to understand and others better as well.
Yeah,
I think when we start that process of inner change and transformation, of it will force you to a certain extent to look at the quality of your relationships. Do they support you? Do they
yeah,
not? Are they in line with who you are and where you feel you need to be, the direction you feel you need to be going in, or not? And I find that I my decisions now are really based on that. If there's something that just, as a natural intuitive, is this something doesn't feel right to me, it's like, sorry, nope, not doing that, not going there.
so I'm
And now,
very lucky that you
yeah,
feel it right at being interviewed by
and
me.
and but and I think also age has something to do with it. I mean, as I've gotten older and more confident in myself and knowing who I am and what I'm about, I'm less likely to get myself tangled up
Mm,
in situations and relationships that don't serve me, because I've spent a lot of years doing that already. That's old. That's old. I don't choose to do that anymore. I don't even say I don't want or I want. I choose.
mm,
And
I like
that's important, to choose it, because then you claim it, you declare it, and the universe will give it to you, providing it's the right thing for you, and you focus on it. So as long as you keep your attention focused on that truth, or whatever it is, or goal, it will happen. I just like, look, this is what I choose, universe. You take care of the details. It's like,
that.
don't bother me. I'm a New Yorker. Don't bother me with details. Just
Yeah,
give me what I want, what I choose. There you go.
yeah,
You see?
I love that. So you have a very different path because, as the audience has understood, you are very focused on essence, but you have also created your own essence therapy. And in your story in the book, you explain the different step that you went through. Okay, I'm creating something new, and I don't want to give too much of your story because you need to read it. It's just amazing. But what I remember is that those 4 steps, you said that it starts with euphoria, enthusiasm, and it is new. It is just everything is going to be wonderful, and there is a clash. And so then there is this moment where you say, okay, now I need to keep on going, or and not to quit too early. And then you have the third step saying that, okay, I keep on going, but to really make a difference, I need to look up and to see the big picture, to say, okay, what is it for? At the end, what do I want to achieve and what it is for, before you can really do that. And so I love those three different steps, because actually this is what we find, what we call the honeymoon. We even call that honeymoon in when you take a job. There is a 100th day. The first 100 days are what we call honeymoon, because it's a new company, it's a new position, it's a new, so it's very euphoric, as you said. And then there is something to say, okay, this is not as nice than I thought it will be. And then we have this keep on going before we can see the bigger picture and really make a difference. Do you want to share more about your journey on this? Because it was so mind blowing for me that it was through again your flowers, but
Mhm.
it can be used and reused in so many domains in our life.
Yeah, I mean, I think we as you say, that there's always this honeymoon period during a new venture, a new relationship, or a new job, whatever it is. There's always that initial period where you're still learning about it. Or I mean, to use the analogy of a couple, you've got stars in your eyes, and God
Yeah,
bless you. No, you don't know anything because you're in love with love at that point. It's when you start seeing the warts on each other's butts that you start to realize this is another person that has come into my life. They're not related to you, and you have to learn, hopefully, not only to love them but to like them as people as well, and that's not always easy. You can love people and not like them. So it for me, it was that niche. I had my plans and I was going to do this thing, and I'm trying not to give anything away either. But I had this plan to do some research actually,
yeah,
and had a vision of how it was going to be, but the universe was like, no, 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 no. You don't understand. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And it was through a series of literally just kind of stumbling through one thing or another. And I call them angels, because angels, the word angel is from the Greek, only means messenger. But I had angels appearing and disappearing and reappearing all over the place during the course of this process of doing research. And whether it was to find money for me suddenly, or find clients for me, or just to be a listening ear, it all during that time, as I was using the trying to get essences to people who needed them, I was needing them myself and taking them to keep me going, because there were just some days it was just like, what the hell am I doing this for? Why am I putting myself through this? And it was like, oh yes, the reason why you're doing this is because this can help somebody, and the people that I wanted to help will really benefit from it. So it was an exercise of exhilaration and frustration and all kinds of things all mixed together, and trying to on the one hand to be this cool, calm, and collected research leader, and on the other hand being this woman like on the verge of a nervous breakdown, because
yeah,
things just kept happening, and it was like being on a roller coaster ride. Just a constant roller coaster with me hanging on to the car, trying not to get thrown out of
yeah,
it. But in the end, it didn't turn out like I had envisioned, but I did get a result. Not the result I had hoped for or expected, but I did get a result. And that was important to me, that at least I made the effort. I got through it.
yeah.
sometimes,
You
sometimes,
survived
yes,
somewhere.
yeah, sometimes barely. But I did it, and I saw the benefit that it gave to the people who were involved in it. I did a piece of research, and maybe one day somebody will pick it up and make it a bigger research study. Who knows?
Mm.
to because it has to be valid, double blind, placebo controlled, yada yada yada. Yeah, but Einstein said experience is knowledge, so I go with that.
You're good with that already.
Yeah,
And
I'm
anyway,
good with that.
you're using it already for your clients and everything. So that's great. When you talk about angels that are going to help you and so forth, when I read your chapter, I was thinking, okay, I had a question for you. Do you think that finding our purpose as a kind of divine, um, how to say that, it's coming from a divine part of us, or the universe, or do you think that we are programmed already for specific purpose, and we are on earth to make it happen, or do you think that there is a kind of personal decision on the purpose that we are choosing?
Woo. And why did you just ask me how many angels dance on the head of a pin? My goodness, that's a heavy question. But what I do, I mean, my personal belief, I can't speak for other people, but my personal belief is that we we're a blank slate, and yet we're not when we come into this world. We're a blank slate in that we have to learn how to get to function in this world, and our experiences create who we are to that extent. But I do believe that as souls, because we are souls walking around in bodies rather than bodies walking around in souls, and that
Mm,
souls, very different things, um, that we do have come with some idea of a purpose, that or we're given gifts that can be developed and it could be multiple gifts. Some people have multiple talents, and I think we all do, but we have a tendency to focus on the one that's the most apparent, a
mm,
musical ability or math ability
yeah.
or whatever it is, sports, whatever the case may be. But we have the potential to excel at anything, because especially if, I mean, look at children. Children are like sponges. They can learn 5 6 7 languages at a clip and speak them all perfectly, because their brain is malleable, it's plastic, it's has plasticity. And even as we get older, we can still learn, we just don't bother quite often. But the brain has the capacity to keep on learning and developing new neural pathways. And so maybe we started out, being that, oh, I, I, Johnny wants to be a doctor, or maybe did you want to be an engineer when you were little?
Yeah.
Well, you see, so quite often the things that children say that they want to be when they grow up is that natural impulsion, that something they're naturally drawn to. But we can be drawn to other things as we gain and grow in experience. Like I said, I was a banker, and I was a very good one for a long time, but I wasn't happy. I was a holistic therapist for over 25 years. I still use all of those skills, but I had to move on. I had to progress, and do what was in my heart to do. And when we do that, we find that life, even when there are tough moments, that will carry us through because we're doing what we love. I like to tell people now that I plurk. I don't work, I plurk. And plurking is a combination of play and work. So it may drive my husband crazy if I'm up till 2 in the morning working on something, but am so pumped and so excited by what I do that the time flies. Like, oh my god, look at the time. I was like,
Yeah.
I should have been in bed hours ago, kind of thing. So it's when we truly find what makes our heart sing, and that's what I call it, it makes my heart sing to do what I do, then you will put up with the difficult moments that will come your way, and the the bumps and bruises that may come along with it, but because ultimately you're doing what you love, it doesn't matter. I remember a friend of mine in New York years ago, and he was a musician, he was a drummer, and his partner was a lawyer. So two more unlikely people to be together
Yeah.
you've never seen. And she was upset because it's rent day, and hey, you need to do your part. And he's like, I love my music so much that even if I had to play for nothing, I would do it. Not that that made his partner very happy, but you see my point. The love
Yeah.
of it is more important than earning from it. Though, I mean, let's be serious here. We got to earn a living, and I'd rather be doing what I love and getting paid for
Mm.
it than doing something else and having high blood pressure and ruined eyes from staring at a stockbroker's screen all day. So, the choice was clear,
Yeah.
for me anyway.
And but it's interesting what you are saying because in the transition phase, before we are incorporate, we are not happy. We are happy but not satisfied with the life. We want more of it, and so forth. And then, what is the next step, and how do we go there? But we can still accept to have a job to pay the bills and to have an activity to make our heart sings and see how this activity can become the earnings, the first and the primary earnings. But
Mhm.
I personally believe in multi income streams because
Yes.
you can have different it's what you said, we can have different purpose, we have different gift, and if we want to use all of them, and okay, it cannot be all of them at the same time, at the same with the same intensity, but we
Sure.
can still serve a lot of different people with our gift and do something free if it's okay, as soon as there is also way to put money in it, or at least to for beginning and something like that. So
Absolutely. I mean, how many businesses have been started? What they call here, uh, like kitchen table, or mom and pop businesses, so we would call them in the states, and that's where people, or jam jar they call them, where you put money in a jar to
yeah,
save it, to save. So I mean, those, to be honest, in any country, 80% of the businesses that generate income are actually small to medium sized businesses. One, small family businesses, or solo entrepreneurs and what have you. So I think that there are ways that, as you say, to work part. If looking back, maybe I would have done things differently and had kind of gradually eased myself into self-employed. But no, me, it's like do or die, and I just like, nope, that's it, I'm done. And it was just like, yeah. So it was a steep learning curve for me. I mean, I was self-employed, but at one time, but in the context of paying my own taxes and this, that, and what have you, with the charity. But when I became completely self-employed, I had no income, so to speak.
yeah,
And that was a big shock. So I think looking back, maybe I would have done things differently. In the end, I had to be myself, and that was the way I had to do it. And I've learned a lot. And I had a lot of support, and that was the main thing. Go back to what you said before, that it's important to have that community of support, to have the people that are around you that are going to support you, sometimes give you a push when you need it, sometimes even a bit of a kick, if you
yeah, but
need it. Yeah. But having that support mechanism is important. And I'd like to throw this in here, because I think, especially in light of the charity that we're supporting,
yeah,
that it would be good to remember that the World Health Organization, I think the UN also agreed with this statement, is that to raise the community, to uplift the community, you first have to uplift the women.
I agree with that. I didn't know that UN was saying that, but I
But
agree with that.
certainly,
Because everybody has a mom, and somewhere a mom stays a mom. And um, as moms, as women, and as mom, we naturally influence others actually. And when we step up in our mom role with our mom hat, we are kind of we are leader. We are leading our families, and by changing the way they see the world through the way they see us and seeing us moving around and growing, then we become a model for them to do the same in their own life. And so yeah, I totally am 100% following that to uplift the word, you need to uplift woman. Yeah, absolutely agree on that.
yeah. I
And
mean,
thank you for reminding me, because I forgot to say it at the beginning. So the book is April 30th on Friday. Wait Friday to buy it, and we will give you the link, and every also you will find it everywhere. No problem about that, because the number of sales that we can do on Friday will define if we are best-selling author or not. And so for us, it's very, very important. It will be 99 cents only. It's an ebook first, and then the paperback will come later. And the 99 cents, all the proceedings will be given to Woman in Kind UK charity helping women around the world. So um, just with 99 cents, you're helping yourself, helping yours, and helping women. How could that be? I mean, that's cool. It's not even the price of a coffee. So
I don't think I've seen 99 cents for a coffee in years.
no, I think you cannot find it anywhere in on the planet anywhere at that price. So it's too late already. We are already more or less at the end of this interview.
Wow, it's really flown by. I can't believe it.
Yes, I mean it was passionating to listen to you and to see that. Um, what will be your recommendation for women who are listening to us and who are trying to find their purpose, or maybe some of them just wondering why should I care about a purpose? What would you like to tell them?
Well, even if your purpose is to be the best mother and wife you could ever be, whatever your purpose is, whatever it's what you in your heart believe it to be, not what other people have told you it is to be or should be, but what you feel is right for you to be. That is your purpose. That could be, making the best Sunday roast ever, and that's a laudable purpose. There's a lot of people who make lousy Sunday roast, let me tell you. So, you know, but whatever it is, whether it is to we're creative beings. We are creative beings.
Yeah.
So whether we're creating a symphony or a baby or a new recipe doesn't matter. But we need to create. When we don't create, we stagnate. And so finding your purpose is just to keep you from stagnating and becoming the person you look in the mirror and go, ugh, I hate my life. I mean, and I have been in places at one point in my life where I just said, I hate my life. I hate it. And life is too short to be going through life hating it. It just is.
Yes, I agree with you. Life is too short. And what's the point anyway? This is still your life, and you cannot just leave it aside and continue your journey. You still have to work with it. You need still have to carry it. So if it is easier, then this is better. Um, thank you for that, because I like the way you say that if there is no creations and we there is stagnation, and if there is stagnation somewhere, there is dead. We when we do, when we stop growing, when we stop learning, this is the end. So,
Yeah.
because there, it means that we have no project anymore. We don't expect anything from life anymore. So this is more or less the end. So I love that um, you make the link between when we create, then we grow, and when we grow, then we are alive. We are just alive.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
Yep.
we are not. Yeah, I love that. And this is some things that we have found as well in the other interviews. So if you want to check them, you have. Uh, I forgot how many we have, but something like 15 interviews of amazing women with very very different point of view, but it's amazing to see how everything is correlated and goes and flows together. So this is, you can find all of those on the YouTube channel, and especially because today on Facebook we had an issue, so I'm not sure it has been broadcasted properly on Facebook. So you will find it on YouTube, and so it will be public, and so you can have access to it. No problem about it. And I wanted to say as well that we are going to do a clubhouse room. We have two more coming. One on Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. uh, Thursday. So you can follow me on Clubhouse and you will find them. That's the easiest way. And on Friday morning, we will have all the authors celebrating the launch day. So it's going to be very, very fun. About how to find your purpose and help you to step up in your life to live the life that you want. So I love that. And the last things I wanted to remind you is that on Friday for the launch day, I will do a specific training, fast track to a life of purpose. This is not only my narrow point of view. This is the combination of all those interviews and all those wonderful women point of view and recommendation to help you find your purpose, but also to live it and to monetize it. So we cannot wait to see you on Friday. Sheila, this is already 1 hour. I cannot believe that it has gone so fast.
It has.
Um,
It's been a really enjoyable experience. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for having me and for getting through all of these interviews because it's a lot. I mean, and you've been going at it like day after day after day, sometimes
yes,
2 or 3 interviews in a day. You're good, girl.
thank you. Well, sometimes it was a bit. At some point last week, I was just exhausted. I couldn't do anything else than that.
I
But
can believe that.
anyway, thank you for coming with us. So you will find in the comments all the links that you need, and if not, you can always DM me on Facebook, or well, I'm pretty social, so on LinkedIn, Facebook, you can find my Benedict Ertzen, and you can register to Benedict Ertzen /Aspire for the training on Friday. Sheila, thank you so much for coming and joining and sharing your expertise with us this morning, and your very
Eclectic.
wonderful, you know,
Eclectic.
there is a kind of fairy in
Whatever.
you're doing. Yeah, there is a kind of fairy because this is very, very subtle. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you
And
for having me. I've enjoyed myself very much. Thank you.
I'm so happy for that. And so next interview is tomorrow, 11 a.m. PST, and it will be Sylvia Baker Hill, who has a very different point of view, but it's just a combination of all of those that makes this book so wonderful. And the launch book is April 30th.
Very good. You got it
Then bye
in
bye.
time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.